Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and we know this face, we love this face. It's our moderator and friend, iCentrix, aka Philipp Niehus. And once again, we had an event in Dortmund, and it of course means Philipp is going to make Top Cut. What did you do this weekend, my friend?
Well, I achieved top 64 at YCS Dortmund, so as always, on the bubble from round 5 on and done unstoppable.
Let's go. Really delivering once again. And this time, of course, Chimera wasn't really an option as it was in Dortmund for the Nationals. So what was the deck you piloted?
I played branded Chimera.
Let's go. What made you play this deck?
I think the deck just has like a very good matchup into everything right now, and I thought like I can just outskill my opponent with this deck.
Alrighty, then let's get into the action. Let's see what it's all about.
So let's get into it. So very easy, I think, pretty standard. Free Codal,
Yes.
free Mirror Swords Knight, free Gazelle, and then 2 Baphomet. Some people play 3. I decided to play 2 because I think it's the standard ratio, and I just didn't want to see it too often. But I thought about playing a third one for like the grind game.
Yeah.
The other ones I think you all have to play at 3. I often sided out 1 Codal though because it's mostly for consistency, which you have more, go second. Then we play the branded package, so 1 Aluba, very good card. You don't really want to draw it, so only 1, but there are lines where when you draw it you can still combo off.
Fair.
And then 2 Albus for the branded fusion, never miss the third one, and 1 Hex Seal.
Ooh.
Most people will already know it's there to make Dragoon. I think it is a lot better than using the Dark Magician, even though you can pop a card with Dark Magician with the Dragoon if it's made by Dark Magician. But I think just like the advantage of this is you don't need to discard a card in your hand, where you really need hand advantage. If you have like the Dragoon, you need to discard for it, you need cards for your Chimera fusion, so I think that's just a lot better there.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see ratios going back and forth, because in the beginning people were playing this, then people were more hyped on the Dark Magician, and now you're back to the Hex Seal, and I think it was pretty popular overall at the event.
Yeah, I think so too. And for hand traps, I'm playing 3 Ash Blossom, just the best hand trap I think in the format, covers a lot of matchups, especially since the format is very wide. And also against this deck, in particular against the Chimera deck here, is very good. And 1 Drone Lockbird, that might sound odd, but you probably have already figured out I am on Crossout, which you will see later.
Let's go.
Then for the spells, triple copy of Branded Fusion, still a very good card, gets you into your engine if you don't have it. So it's a consistency card at that, and if you already have engine, you can get into Dragoon to just protect your main engine to go off.
Yeah. Did you have an Ash counter on Branded Fusion for the weekend? How often did it happen to you?
I did have the Crossout to counter the Ash Blossom, which came up quite a lot, which was very good.
Okay, nice.
And then you also will see a few other cards.
Okay.
And the thing is, they really have to. Even though people say it's better to Ash the Mirror Swords Knight than the Branded Fusion, they really have to Ash the Branded Fusion, because otherwise the Dragoon will hit the field, and the Ash Blossom will not resolve. Then 3 extra copies of Branded Fusion. This one particularly is sometimes even better than having Branded Fusion, because you get the Aluba onto the field, and then you can just tribute summon Baphomet from your hand, which happened quite often for me, and you get like access to both your engines.
Yeah.
Then triple Chimera Fusion, very good card, would never play that too. Having it is so good because you're able to dodge like so many stuff, like imprompts on your cards, like every targeting effect, like also the Unchained cards with Soul of Rage just get like pretty much destroyed sometimes by the Chimera Fusion. Then coming to the real non-engine, I played 3 Talents and 3 Thrust. I think these 6 are just like the best non-engine cards in the format right now. Whenever I do like these, we're pretty much guaranteed to break boards. Because the thing is just like, the Talents is maybe even better here. Because going first, like if you get ashed on your Branded Fusion, because your opponent really has to, because otherwise he cannot ash, you just look into his hand, and then later you can rip a card with Chimera, and then he will like start with 3 cards in hand, where he cannot really play through. The thrust itself going first was not that good, but going second is just so super insane. I played against Tyr, and it's just like it was the one card I had in hand, which helped me break the board. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah. Do you have a dedicated going first target for Frost in your main deck?
I do, and I'll come to it later.
Okay,
but
sure.
it's not only for Frost.
All right.
Then for Frost targets, one Herald of the Abyss, because I was real scared of Pearly, and still the card is very good against like Unchained, because you can just like, because like the Caesar is water, and so he really has to send the Caesar, so it's now to Caesar as well, and the one of Duster, because I think it's also like very generic and good versus a lot of decks.
Sure.
Then more non-engine, 3 Bug of Eclipse, mainly. I think like even though Chimera has rotated a lot out of the metagame, I still think like the Eclipse is a very good card because it does cover Pearly, which is not the hardest matchup for Chimera, but if they get to Nora, it can get pretty tough at some point in the game.
You think Eclipse right now is better than just the regular Book of Moon?
Oh yeah, I think it's a lot better. I mean, it sometimes it is a problem to like book your own Dragoon because you have to somehow like wait with the Eclipse then after you use Dragoon. But still, it's like super insane. A lot of decks like really rely on their normal summons, so yeah. But it was mostly that to cover Pearly. Then, coming to the best card of my deck for this weekend, 3 Cross-Out Designator. That card completely overperformed for me. So the theory behind this, like most decks, of course, like branded decks, they play like the Cross-Out to protect against the Ash Blossom, which I did as well, of course. But the thing with this deck is, if your opponent like doesn't have the Ash, you can still set the Cross-Out Designator and just like have like the 6 TTTs like Thrust and Talons, which everyone is like playing right now, and so you can just cross out them. And that happens really often to me, that I just cross-outed Talons, and my opponent afterwards just scooped because that was his only way to break my board to take a monster of me, and I just negated and won the game from that on. And it's also there to like negate Duster or Evenly Matched, because they are like pretty devastating sometimes on your back row.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the format is like very open and very broad, but still the non-engine is like kind of the same for most of the decks, so I really like the decision of going with Crossout. I think actually a card you may consider maybe in the future is Droplet, to also have it as a Crossout target, because Droplet was really popular as well. It's not that great versus your deck though. I mean, it's good versus Dragoon, I guess.
Yeah, the Droplet is okay against me, I think. It's not like very good. It's okay versus the Chimera to pop.
True.
As well, but I also considered siding it, but in the end I decided against it because of siding patterns.
Sure.
And for my last cards, 2 Impermanence. Might sound odd, but I wanted to have like enough hand traps because I was a bit feared of decks like Vanadium, which I didn't face at all. I didn't face like those super heavy combo decks, except Tier Elements, which are pretty much represented. And also 2 is like pretty good for like, if you have one you can still cross at it because it's a very popular hand trap, I think.
Yeah.
That's like the good thing with the Impermanence. In total I played 44 cards. That's quite a lot. Not optimal, but I figured I need to have like a lot of non-engine to cover some matchups, because like I said, if the Noir hits the field, it's pretty tough to deal with it if you don't have the Thrust into Herald play. Unchained as well, like with only engine it's pretty hard to break them, so I thought like, yeah, I gotta just go down a bit in consistency to have all the non-engine.
Yeah, and Imperm probably also the card you would set going first with the Thrust, right?
Yeah, correctly. That's my Thrust Cycle first. I think there are better targets, but they might brick go second, and so I have a target that is good, go first and go second.
Yeah, I like it.
Coming to the extra deck now for the branded cards. 1 Albion, 1 Lubellion, 1 Mirror Jade, 1 Rindbrom, and I played 1 Alba Lanitus. So, one thing, only 1 Albion. I debated a lot about playing 2. I really wanted to play 2, but yeah, in the end, I did never really miss the second one. It was just alright. And the Alba Lanitus in there, it's for the Dragon Link matchup, which I didn't face at all if I remember correctly, but I was still happy to have it, because worst case you just send it off Lubellion, get your branded fusion for next turn. Rindbrom, really, besides Crossout, the MVP of the tournament. Crazy interruption for my opponent, because whenever he activates like a monster effect from an extra deck monster, you could just negate it and bounce a card on the field, which came in pretty clutch versus Tier Elements to like bounce the Kaleido Heart. And also the reborn effect of Fallen of Albus is really, really strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then coming to Chimera cards. To Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, 1 big Chimera, and 2 Guardian Chimera. Pretty standard, wouldn't change anything. Then other fusion monsters. Magnum, very good, didn't make it a lot, but when he hit the field, he was pretty good, he made a lot of plus. When Dragostapelia didn't make it a lot, you have to play it though. It's just like a very good target you can go into. Dragoon, also pretty good card, probably third best card in my deck, I love it. Thought about getting a Starlight one for the tournament, decided against it though.
Would have been worth now. I mean, you can buy one now, I guess.
Worth, yeah. And then Garura Muddragon, you can play him. You also can play him if you don't play Super Poly, but with Super Poly they are just mandatory. To be honest, I didn't want to play the Super Poly, you will see it on my side, but I forgot to like handle my deck list in the end. So I just looked at my phone at 2 minutes past 7 and I just realized there are still the Super Polys in, because those two, they should have been an second Albion for the grind game and a Zeus if I take my opponent's cards with talents and then just go into Zeus. Luckily that didn't come up for me both, so the Super Polys were not a handicap at least. Then coming to the side deck, 2 Drolls, yeah, because I'm maining one, Droll just covers a lot of matchups where you want to have a hand trap to stop the heavy combo decks. Then 1 Magnamute, 2 Drews. Wanted to play for Drews, but yeah, like I said, I played 2 Super Poly, which was not intended. They performed quite good, because we had a lot of tier, and of course those 2 were mainly for Unchained, but I also sided them in against Branded, and there they also were pretty good. The theory behind with Drews, is, which is pretty good, is that you can just summon him and then you can yourself like fuse him off, so he's an extra body on the field for your Guardian Chimera, and then he also like interrupts your opponent and it chain blocks the Guardian Chimera.
Yeah, that's true. Did you ever consider to just run 3 Druiswurm over 2 Druiswurm and the Magnamute? Because I saw some other people like Gabriel Nets do that, because Druiswurm itself is just better versus Unchained in general.
Yeah, I debated a lot and I really thought about playing the 3 Druids, but I think like there's like 1 or 2 matchups where you like don't really want to set in Bestials, but only the 1 Magnamute to get like a Fallen of Albus. That's like a good thing, because as example against Dragon Link you can just like get the Magnamute and get Fallen of Albus and they cannot really build up a good board, because you can just set it and go Abalanitus. But so I think like the Magnamute was pretty good, because even though it's at 1, people forget like how broken this card is. Especially against here, it's like an insta win. Sadly I didn't draw it because it's at 1. But yeah, like I said, normally it should be 4 Bestials. And then coming to a card, very strong. King Tiger Vangu, it's a floodgate. It's pretty insane versus a few decks, like just saying Flu, Pearly, and Rika. This card is often just insta win.
I remember you calling this card Cope. I totally know that you were really disregarding it. Now you sit here topping with the cards.
I did, but I gotta like early shout out Tim as always. He told me you play Vangu because he's good, and he was right.
Nice.
Spells. 2 Cosmics, 2 Super Polys. The 1 Super Poly should have been in a 3rd Druis, and the other one should have been a 3rd Cosmic. Didn't like really matter that much for me, because I didn't. I mean, it's 2 off, so I didn't really often draw the Super Poly. The thing why it's a 2 off, like in the first place, there was theory behind it for like siding patterns where I wanted to have a card that is good versus the mirror match, because I don't have a lot in the side deck for the mirror match, which I really think is good. And also it was planned for Rescue Ace going first to get off like Hydrant and another one of them, so they cannot really play, like the Turbulence. I didn't play any Rescue Ace, so it didn't come up, but I think the card was still good, and I was happy to have it in the mirror, and also with all the tier running around, I think it's pretty good there. So wasn't really sad about my deck list error, but yeah, it's okay. Then coming to traps, 1D barrier, frost target and especially cross out target. Always sided and go second. Seemed really awkward, but I think it's just necessary with a deck consisting of all fusions. 1 evenly matched. First of all, a frost target never came up for me as a frost target, but I often cross outed the evenly because it's like a out to your back row, and people really think I think people really like figured out that getting rid of the back row of the Chimera deck is like pretty necessary, because it's tough to get rid of the monsters because they will often just like get to new monsters, but getting rid of the back row hurts a lot because they cannot like go into reactive guarding Chimera stuff, and you don't always get to Dragoon, and so I think the one evenly was very good there. And then coming to last card again, shoutouts to Tim. Free, there can be only one. I'm really not proud I played them, but I think you don't really have to play them, but they are just like your safety insurance. Like against so many decks, they're like, they start playing into your board, and the problem with the stackers, where I also played the crossout, is you always have to play into Talons and Frost. It's like pretty impossible to play around them because all your interruptions are monster effects, and you can be pretty much sometimes be screwed by like Talons or Frost. But if you flip there can be only one, they will do nothing. And my friends decided to main it. I wasn't brave enough to do that because I don't think it's good enough against everything. But against a few matchups, I also decided to go second because like they don't get to that many interruptions, and sometimes you can just like bait a bit against, as example, Unchained, and then you flip there can be only one. Or against Flu, I also like got the there can be only one, like played a bit into it, and then can just flip it till second.
Yeah, very good, very good. So you already shouted out Tim. Any other shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I also got a shout out like people from the team, like Aaron and Flo as example, because they were like a bit like doing theory with me. And also like the boys, Astrodog, Marvin, and all the other people who like supported me around the event, like just hyped me up. Patrick as well, Izzy. They were just like, yeah, you can do it, you will do it. Dortmund is your city, and they were right. Dortmund is my city.
He has done it again, indeed.
And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually you lost to Julius in the end. So you got only defeated by the YCS champion himself, who went on to win the event. Very big congratulations to you again, my friend. Thank you everyone for watching. We will go with another video and another stream very soon. Shoutouts to the Lampy YG community, where Icentric's obviously a big part of. Thank you guys. See you soon.
See ya.